might not join us. So I think we'll get started if that's fine. Lanza, are you ready to go with your streaming and all that?
Ready?
Okay. Can somebody start the meeting in Discord?
I don't know how to do that.
Start
But we need to change it because it
I'll do it.
stays on there for hours
A what?
after it stays on there for like for a long time after we leave. So I think we need to change something about
You
that.
have to manually start it and stop it. There's no way around that.
Oh,
So we need to stop it as well. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
I think all you do is click.
I usually
like,
stop it at
if
the
you,
end.
No, gotcha. Yeah, if you just go on it, like just scroll up to the event, Bodhi, it should just say start meeting. I think we should have the permissions for it.
I already did it. I started it.
I'll just telling him how it's done, but cool. Well, we'll get started. Lanzer, I have terrible internet, so I'm not going to watch the stream. Do we have the financial update for the week? You have that on one of your slides? Or is that something Signal usually throws up?
Something. I have the slide showing right now. I don't know if it's updated.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm showing the sources of DAO revenue right now.
Okay. And I'm not at a computer and Signal's muted, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'll
we'll
pull
just
it
go
up
with
in
it
1
for now.
second. For the record, this
Okay.
weekly is meant to be our wonderful finance person, Bodhi. But I tend to just grab it anyway because it's like 30 seconds when we do our meeting.
If you put the
Gotcha.
link here in the slide, then I'll just each time I go to it, I'll go to that link and we can see it in real time.
Yeah, Signal's not real good with the PowerPoint.
I'm not real good at anything, man. I don't know why the fuck you guys elected me.
Well, I didn't
See.
elect you.
What's the link? Is there a flip side link to
Neither
this?
did I.
it's
I
can plug it in.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Bodhi, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I just gotta switch my email. Don't hold up for me. I'll plug it in.
Okay, and Lancer, would you mind going to? Oh shoot, no, I'm echoey. Would you mind going to last week's minutes and just putting them up there real quick? That's what we usually do at my rails or our downtown meetings. We just go over financials and then last minutes to see if there's any corrections that anybody sees. You do a really nice job, but at least if it's up there, people can pause the video and peruse what we did.
It's up there.
Last meeting. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. And like I said, I can't stream because of the internet, but if anyone sees any corrections, speak now. And then we can come back to the financials. But after last week's meeting, I think that format worked for the more free people. Me and Lancer are definitely more structured, but I think we're gonna try that kind of free flow meeting again, yet still take notes and some of that stuff. And we're tiptoeing into this, people. We're trying to figure out what format works best for this particular group of people. So once we get those financials pulled up, whoever's doing them, you can do it in your report. I think it was a pretty light week for all of Star Atlas, especially for the DAO. We didn't necessarily have anything going on, but I don't know who wants to go first and kind of state what you did or what some of the accomplishments were, and then what, if anything, you would like to talk about later in the meeting after we talk about the PIP. Does Bodhi or Lancer, since you're on computer and Signal seems distracted, does one of you want to go first?
Yeah, we got the media PIP has finished the KYC, and we're in the beginning stages of the payment process. And then the Theo pip has its initial funding completed. I don't know if this was done last week or if that was included in last week's meeting, but they're now basically starting the work of the pip itself. So that'll be interesting. And then yeah, I think that's all for my end. I don't know where this flip side is to get this DAO revenue. I don't even know where that. Okay, looks like somebody plugged it in there.
I added the link under the snippet. And I posted Automata's monthly revenue as well for kicks.
Perfect.
Cool.
Can you see it, Bodhi?
Oh yeah, there's the link. All right, cool. Thanks. That'll make it easier.
But yeah, so the DAO made roughly, like 60 and some change $1,000 over the past 4 weeks. 52,000 in Starbase Atlas crafting fees, 5,500 in USDC marketplace fees, and roughly 5K in Atlas marketplace fees. So keep on crafting, guys. That's the lesson.
And no kidding. And part of the reason I want to do this and actually speak it out loud is for the AI, like we kind of went over last week. So if somebody does a TLDR, they can pull the info from the audio. That's another reason for doing some of this stuff. It might seem redundant to some of you guys, but that's part of the reason I want to do it. And yeah,
Did it work from last week?
I didn't try it. I know VB, and you can unmute if you're there real quick. You made a dashboard, not a dashboard. You made something. They talked about it at the brew. What's it called? The Google LM. I don't know if
The Google Notebook one, yeah. I have one for
Yeah.
all C4. I've done some for all low keepers. I can set one up for all the DAO meetings. I think I already did for a few DAO meetings, like all the things Lancer recorded and some of mine.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I will post it. Yeah.
Thank you, VB. So that's why I want to go over it vocally. But to answer your question, Lancer, I have no idea because I had a super busy week. Just like all of us. It's kind of crazy how busy we all are. Bodhi, was there anything in particular you wanted to talk about later if we have time after we talk about that pip?
Actually, yes, and it is kind of relating to the pip, but I am wondering if we might need to make a new pip structure for these pips that kind of have, because when we first made the pip structure, we kind of tried to make somewhat of a universal one, but we understood, this was during the first council, we understood that there might come a time when we might need to have like a second kind of format for if there's just something that's just radically different. And I'm wondering if these kind of large projects that are going to require multiple pips, if that might be an example of something that requires a different kind of approach. So that's just something I kind of wanted to kick around.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. If we have time, and I'm hoping we do have time because few of you guys reviewed that tip that we're going to talk about. So awesome. Signal, are you able to give an update and speak about anything you would like to chat about, or are you muted? There you go.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I was asleep right before this, so I sent out the alert that we were gonna have our live stream, and then I woke up 1 minute into our live stream. So
Hilarious.
that's me being discombobulated a bit, but
No worries.
mainly just coming soon stuff. So I've got a couple of people that have reached out with pretty big pip ideas this week, and I've been helping them kind of comb through some of that stuff behind the scenes of, well, hey, this might be something you want to consider, or I don't really think structure is going to work if you're looking for an amount that size, etc. So a lot of my work this week has been in kind of ideation stage stuff with people who are getting ready to post things in pip ideas.
Perfect. Anything in particular, if we have time, you would like to chat about today?
No, I'll leave it to those people because I don't want to. As much as it's fun to start the debate early, on some of these, I'm sure there'll be plenty of debate on lots of them. None of them will be ones that I'm officially sponsoring, so it won't be like raspy. So I don't want to taint perception of any of them before they go
Perfect.
out.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Lanzer, did you have any updates? And I know we had some items last week that we didn't get to from you. Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, the items that from last week that I didn't get to, I still want to go over, but today we should probably make it about the pip, and then we can go over the things I was like the ecosystem revision and the RFP process after. I just did a little more
Perfect.
work on the RFP to pip process, and just touched up the flowchart, and then also did the feedback for that new pip idea.
Awesome.
Odie, I
Cool.
missed yours. What did you say during your accomplishments? Something got funded?
Yeah, so the beginning stages of the TheoPip were so TheoPip is basically two payments. The first one, and then the work is done, and then there's the second payment is at the end. So the first payments are done, and so they're basically now starting on the actual work in the pip, and then and then the Raspy pip, the media pip, has basically finished the KYC, and so now we're in the process of verifying the wallet and sending out the initial payment. I believe it starts with the payment.
Cool.
Obviously, I check all that before actually sending a payment, but yeah, they're KYC'd, so now we're basically hitting the ground running with that now too.
That's good. Thanks.
Awesome. And then I know what did we have? I know there's a bunch of pip ideas that have come in, so please chime in on those. I did. Okay, I'll try to find those. BB. For those watching, I spoke at the brew and kind of plugged this too, but anyone reviewing these, please chime in on some of these pip ideas. I know some of them are actionable, some of them aren't, but please give your feedback. So I know some of those have come up. I don't think we had any, and again, I'm not at my computer, but I don't think we had any pips that completed voting or anything like that. I do know, to give people the update, especially the group. I know VB, you're here. There was some questions about it. We have completed our review and given feedback to the fellas doing the meetup expansion, for lack of a better term, because I don't have it in front of me. And now, right now, it's we'll be sending it to the foundation, and they'll give the green light if it meets their criteria. But one of us will probably need to do the markdown. What's it called? The format. You've been doing those a little bit.
Markdown.
Markdown. Thank you. So we'll just we'll have to do that after we hear back from the foundation. So that is moving forward to go up to voting. I don't really have a time frame. I don't know what's reasonable to hear back from the foundation. They do seem to be getting back to us fairly quickly. So
And
that
this was
is
the
one of the
expansion
things.
proposal?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. Does somebody have the actual name for that pip
Yeah. Expansion
or the
proposal,
number?
startless comment meetup at Gamescom.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes, sir. That's what it is. So yeah, we gave feedback to those guys, and they sent us a new updated version. So that happened. I'm going to go back. Yeah, like I said, it was a pretty light week. Just going through my notes. And I don't have anything specifically I would need to talk about in the meeting today, but Carlos said, I know I don't exactly know what Drum did this week, but in our council chambers, guys, can somebody give a summary of what he was thinking needed to be done? It might fall in line with what Bodie was talking about, with the different funding mechanisms. Is that kind of, yeah, because Bodie, you responded. We started setting a precedent with the raspy pip, and we need to kind of work on we need to create a procedure that makes more sense for these initiatives that require several funding steps. So yeah, if there's like, if they're requesting $10,000, basically we need to chat about that internal process that we need to, well, maybe it's external, that we need to come up with, and that's in the council chambers Discord if you want to, if and when we get to that one. But since Drum's not here, we might push it till next week. So
All right, wait.
Essentially, he just wants to detail a process for if you're asking for more than the 5% of the ecosystem fund, these recurring fund PIPs, things that would go beyond that budget, more of a refined structure for how you would break that out and turn it into dedicated sub PIPs, rather than these big, complex individual monsters, is kind of what he seems to be saying.
Well, and I think more specifically too, like when we first made the structure, and we accounted for multiple payments, I think it was kind of more along the lines of something that needed continual funding, like let's say some sort of ongoing like upkeep or development. But I feel like what we're seeing now is kind of these like, it's not necessarily like, it was kind of more for an open-ended type thing where it's like, okay, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be providing this service, and it was kind of ongoing. Whereas now we're kind of seeing, I guess the ecosystem, or not the one that we're going to talk about today, the Steven Sebol pip, is kind of like that. It's like he's going to be providing these data analytics and improving it over time. But I feel like, something like the media pip, for example, it's not necessarily ongoing. It's just a singular big project with like multiple steps. I feel like that's kind of where, I don't know, I feel like we really need to kind of dive in and like really kind of make a distinction and figure out how we're going to handle like these individual scenarios.
yeah, and that might be, I just put it in our private council chambers, Lanzer, as a, for you to find easily. But I think we'll probably, since we didn't get to some of the other ones before that one might be one we talk about offline, but just letting people know that we are working on things like that. But I think we need to move into the, unless, yeah, we'll just move into the PIP review for Peter Sabal. Do we want to run through that again like we did last time, line by line? What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, let's keep doing that.
Okay.
Wait,
Steven
before we do
Sabal,
that,
7 days ago.
the PIP
Okay.
draft for Star Atlas comment, that Star Atlas comment, did we ship that to Foundation? Was that the update?
Not yet. Somebody needs to do that. I think Drum usually does that, but again, he's on vacation. Is that something, Bodie, you're pretty good in that channel. Would you mind sending that on Drum's behalf and maybe tag him in there to the foundation, letting him know it's past our review?
Oh yeah, I can do that part. It's the sending it to the automata that I'm not very good at because it requires that other format. Yeah, I can do that part for sure.
Yeah, if you don't mind sending it just like you posted in there just a second ago, if you don't mind.
Yep.
So yes, thanks. Perfect. Thank you very much.
I'll produce a markdown version. Bodhi will send it to the Foundation.
And he sends the non-markdown, so
Yeah.
you can do both at the same time.
Right. Okay,
Perfect.
I'm good on that now.
I love it. Excellent. Okay, so Peter Sabal's, I guess it's not, well, it is pretty long. Well, okay. So I'll just do what we did last time. It's a funding one, June 14th, version 1. So the summary is the proposal requires funding from the Star Atlas Ecosystem Fund to provide investors and players with transparent economic and financial dashboards. The funding will support maintenance of dashboards, enables players and investors to analyze data and draw informed conclusions. It does ongoing research into metaverse economics, building on prior work that has enhanced transparency around risks and opportunities in metaverse gaming, and improved access to on-chain Star Atlas data for researchers on popular platforms. This initiative empowers stakeholders to make data-driven investment decisions and fosters innovation in metaverse economics. I think that's a pretty clear summary. And if somebody has in their in the feedback that I think Lanzer, you provided feedback written down, and then I think Drum did as well. And I can't see those, so if somebody sees that feedback, just jump in with it after, as I'm reading or after. Motivation, the Star Atlas metaverse is an increasingly complex economic structure or system requiring robust data to support investment decisions, measure returns, and evaluate tokenomics. This proposal ensures long-term maintenance of critical data resources for investors and DAOs, BACs, so guilds, continued independent open source economic research led by an experienced former Federal Reserve researcher and Star Atlas economics team member, and enhanced accessibility to on-chain Star Atlas data on platforms like Flipside, Dune, and Solscan for individual researchers. I think his motivation is pretty clear. Does anyone have feedback on motivation? All right.
I
So
think there
far,
was.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lancer.
I'm still confused as to what this is all about, even after reading the motivation. So by this point in time, I was trying to understand what is it that he's trying to do. But I'll hold that until the end, because I think he
No,
kind of gets at it, but I don't think it's clear in this opening paragraph. What is this about?
gotcha. I think the OGs probably know him and are more clear on what he's doing, but that's a really good perspective from more of a newer person to the ecosystem that you
Yeah.
have that question. So if it's not clear to you, that's good that we address that.
I recognize the name. I've come across him in different things and like the data analytics, but I don't know what he's producing here. It says
Okay.
ensures long-term maintenance of critical data resources. Okay. Is this a web page? Is this an Excel sheet? What is it that we're maintaining with this?
Okay. Yeah, and I don't.
Great
Is that under
question. So that's
deliver?
definitely not clear.
Yeah. Is it under? Oh, by the way, who's actually taking the notes and who will actually get the feedback to the author, like ASAP?
I'm happy to be feedback guy. I'm
I'm
literally
taking
giving
notes as
feedback
we're
inside the
talking.
draft as we speak.
Perfect. I think that sounds great. So yeah, if he'd made the motivation more clear, that would obviously be helpful. Those are good questions. And yeah, go ahead.
Drum had actually in the summary, I just noticed he had some feedback. The total amount that's being requested should be in the summary. So yeah, that would be that would definitely be something. Ideally near the top, requests probably in that first line. The summary requests a total of X amount to do this.
Why do we need a summary? There's a whole section devoted to costs.
I think it's
Because that's
probably for
part,
the lazy
that's
the lazy people that don't want to read down anymore. They just want to read the summary. Would be
yeah.
my
The cost should be a part of the summary. That way, it's like a holistic TLDR, right? Like that's kind of the idea of the summary is to have basically all the essential information in one spot.
Is that part of the instructions on knowledge base?
I think it should be, to be honest.
I don't think it is.
I haven't
Yeah,
read
maybe
the
not be.
instructions. I haven't read the
It,
instructions in a long time.
if it's not, to be honest, it should be. That should be one of the, that should be kind of the first line. This pip is requesting X amount of dollars to do Y, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like a perfect way to start the pip, in my opinion.
Okay. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go take a
So
look at the knowledge
under
base, but if I don't see it there, then I
yeah,
wouldn't expect them to do it.
right. That's
Yeah.
definitely something we'll have to correct. So yeah, all it would take is this proposal requests $ blah 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 in funding from the SA ecosystem. It would be a super easy fix. But yeah, good catch, Lanzer. If it's not in the knowledge base, it definitely needs to be.
It's not. I have it pulled up now. It just says
Okay.
provide a succinct overview of the proposal in a few sentences. Clearly state the main action or change being proposed.
So we should add to that, including the dollar amount requested. Or no, remind me, Bodhi, what did we decide on? Dollar amount requested or Atlas amount of Atlas requested?
Yeah, it's the amount of Atlas with the option of denominating it in another currency. So you can you're requesting Atlas, or you're requesting Atlas in, like, you're requesting, say, I'm requesting Atlas.
Worth of Atlas.
Yeah, so and so many dollars worth of Atlas, basically. You can request it like that as well.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be a good
Good.
place to make that kind of requirement to have it, to basically say you have to request Atlas or Atlas denominated in another currency whenever
Awesome.
we upgrade that.
Okay, so the comment is Carlos thinks that the total amount should be in the summary, which is that opening sentence. And Bodhi, you agree?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
as
we should
well.
add that to knowledge base for sure. I'm gonna write a
If this
separate note.
conversation's happening, I'm adding notes to the draft.
Yeah.
Just so people
Yeah.
know.
Perfect. Okay. Good on summary then. Awesome. And we went over motivation. And Lanzer gave your feedback. Did Drum have any comments on the motivation?
Negative.
Okay. Does anyone else have? I guess Lanzer, what would your verbiage be for the feedback for them? I guess how do you want to say that?
I'm writing it down on the little
Okay.
mini minutes. Unclear what product this
Second.
pip will result in. Is it maintenance of a web page, an Excel sheet, or what?
Perfect. Okay. And I'm assuming you're writing that down as
Yeah.
well.
I just
Pretty much.
read to you what I wrote down.
Perfect.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily sure that this actually establishes motivation. Like just the language of the pip, the way that it's written. Like, so if I give like an exact example here, so like motivation. The Star Atlas metaverse is an increasingly complex economic system requiring robust data to support investment decisions, measure returns, and evaluate tokenomics. This proposal ensures long-term maintenance of critical data resources, continued independent open source economic research, enhanced accessibility to on-chain Star Atlas data. It doesn't actually say why this PIP exists and what it seeks to accomplish, other than it's just saying that this PIP will essentially maybe continue things that exist, or I don't. It's not really saying like I need X amount of funding because here's the thing that I want to build. If that
Right.
makes any sense.
That makes total
Yeah, I
sense
feel
to
like he
me.
just needs to bridge it. He just needs to bridge it to the user and be like, "This is what it will be able to do for you," which is close, but I feel like he just needs that extra little step to kind of explain like what these things would do for people.
And distinguishing if it's new, like a new creation, I need more funding because I'm going to build this new thing for the community. Or if what's being proposed is funding to essentially continue things that are already being done, and what percentage of which it is. Like, yeah, this is a new feature and it's going to require X amount of dollars for me to produce say, here's what I need, or this is all stuff I've been doing already, and this is part of that pile. I think that's really going to be important. Right off the offset, like what I'm seeking X amount for accomplishing these specific tasks. And I'm imagining they're new things, but it's not really clear that they are.
So,
That would cover Lancer's question about it too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm going to highly encourage Stephen to listen to this in addition to all the notes everyone is taking. So.
Oh,
I mean,
definitely.
what we could do, because I'm writing down pretty much what y'all just said. At the end of it, when we publish the actual video, I can just link the video in the actual PIP idea.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now I have for
we've-
motivation signal. I'm not sure the inputs describe what is needed for motivation, and then I put a link to the knowledge base description of what motivation says. And then I have signal saying, is this new or does it continue something? I have Bodhi saying needs to bridge it to what this will do for Star Atlas users. Do you both agree with what I just said?
Absolutely.
Cool. All right, good to go.
Cool. All right, moving on from motivation, the specification. So the funding will enhance transparency and data dissemination in 3 key areas. Ecosystem financial data. So maintain dashboards for DAC. That's the guilds and players, individual players, including tax season tools, tracking wallet level profits and expenses per fiscal year. Super handy, by the way. That would be cool. Track DAC profits, membership expenses, and external revenues. Love it. Respond to community data requests to support bespoke analysis, as well as build out and maintain a custom economic dashboard for the DAO, which will address their analytical needs. And I know one of us had reached out to him, and I think that's why he put that in here. That will be super handy for us. I love that.
Which one was that?
He's going to build a custom economic dashboard for the DAO for us, so we can analyze stuff rather than just a simple one that we've been using. He'll make a custom one. Yeah, super cool.
And that one's under managed.
For the...
Go ahead, Lanzer.
Oh, never mind. Go ahead, Lanzer.
That was under managed dashboards tracking cash flows. Was that the one you just talked about?
Ecosystem financial data. It was the third bullet point. Respond to community data requests to.
Oh, I see.
To support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
So like
we're the community data request. Got it.
I feel like he just needs to, similar to what we were saying before, but a little bit more specifically here on these first 2 bullet points. He needs to, if they're not being created, he needs to just add the word like create and maintain instead of just maintain.
Okay.
Like it's kind of the same question. Like, does that dashboard for DAX and players already exist, or is he creating it too? I don't know. He might already have it, so it might actually just be maintenance, like he says. But
yeah,
It's
if he does that, I think it's gonna.
Where we wanted to know, like, are you building something, or is this a proposal for you to just keep doing what you've been doing?
Yeah.
Like, it's an important distinction.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
I totally agree.
I think we're going to see that quite a lot throughout the PIP. So I think we can just tell him that he needs to kind of go over and find all the points where that exists and just cover it that way. We're not just repeating ourselves every time. Because I'm looking ahead and I'm seeing that's going to happen a lot. So I don't think we have to keep hitting on that same point.
The good news is we're already halfway through the PIP, so.
Yeah. That's funny coming from Bodhi. Usually you're the talk about a lot of things guy. I love it.
What's that?
Usually you're the talk about things a lot guy, and I like that you came up with that to just do an overarching, give him that feedback.
I'm just seeing the exact same, like, manage. I saw it just a couple, like the next line starts with manage dashboard. It's like, okay, well, let's just nip this in the bud.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. Okay,
New
so we're going to move on.
That's driven by a need and a desire and a thirst for brevity is exciting.
I love brief Bodhi would be okay.
Like, come on, guys, let's get to the point.
Brief Bodhi. That's funny.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Metaverse economic research and risk analysis. So manage dashboards, tracking cash flows within the Star Atlas ecosystem. Okay. Report on Atlas and Polis tokenomics. And some of this, by the way, might be redundant to what Autonomous is doing. A freckle. That would one thing I noticed, because I mean they do kind of do some of this, but I think his intent is to take it to the next level. But so monitor community trends like external revenue, wealth changes, airdrop, staking to identify risks and opportunities.
I don't know what
Analyze the
that
impact.
means.
Go ahead.
I don't know what that means. What risks and opportunities is he referring to?
I think for players of the game is who he's referring to in that. So a guild or an individual player can see, hey, the external revenue is dropping. Oh shit, that's a risk for me as a player. Maybe I don't want to buy more ships. Or oh, I see more revenue coming in, and that's an opportunity for me because I know where this dashboard is to buy X, Y, and Z. And capitalize on that opportunity and hedge risks. That's how I would take that.
So he'd be managing, as in either creating or continuing, a dashboard that shows the plus and minuses of the ecosystem. And when it says monitor community trends, I don't think he means he's going to monitor them. He's going to provide the dashboards for the community to identify risks and opportunities for themselves.
Well, at
Correct.
least give them the data. Yeah.
Sounds
Yeah.
like it.
Okay, so then that monitor community trends is like a thing he's delivering so that people can do for themselves.
Yeah, I'd imagine just like the cash flow dashboards, like when we posted the DAO thing, how much the DAO revenue is, where it came from, automata revenue and where it came from. Like those are all examples of just dashboards he's made. Like when we grab that data, we just snip it off of one of his dashboards.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to recommend then that he maybe spell that out. Instead of saying monitor community trends, identify that as as something the community can do for themselves versus it sounding like he's going to monitor something.
Mhm.
Right.
Well,
Which
he's
implies
got that.
reporting or report generation or some type of comms out to the community.
He's kind of touching on that in the very first line of specification. He says before he goes into these different sectors, he goes, the funding will enhance the transparency and data dissemination in 3 key areas, and then he's going through those areas. So maybe he could just kind of make the clarification there, and then it would kind of give insight into all these points, right?
Well, okay, so
Yeah.
take ecosystem financial data. It says maintain dashboard for DAX and players. That sounds like something he's doing. Track DAC profits. Sounds like something he's doing. Respond to community data requests. Something he's doing. Then you go down, manage a dashboard tracking cash flows. He's doing. Monitor community trends. The users are doing. That's what I mean. There seems like a flip there, and I don't know if he's doing that
Right.
monitoring or what.
And knowing him, I'm assuming that literally every single one of those items really means he makes a dashboard and it's available.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's where I think you can make it more clear in the first line, the specification.
Okay.
Like
Because
his
that's
whole
kind of
thing is
applying
make
to this whole.
dashboards, and then people
Yeah.
use them to look at stuff.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. This is all great feedback. I think we'll move on to the next one. So analyze the impact of Star Atlas and its community on the rest of the ecosystem, enhancing goodwill and shaping zeitgeist. So that would be, if people can take that, and we all know how Web3 gaming is right now, and compare it to other people. I love that. So recommend transaction fee optimizations by monitoring program fees, priority fees, and compute budgets. I know people would find that extremely helpful. We good on metaverse economic research, taking into consideration all the feedback
Yeah.
from Clarity. Okay.
Good on my end.
Cool. And if nobody says anything, I'm going to assume the answer is yes. So, enhanced investor research experience. Improved data accessibility for traditional and blockchain analysts. correctly classify Star Atlas wallets and programs on Flipside, Dune, and SoulScan, and then decode interface description language. That's a new one to me. IDLs to simplify Star Atlas data interaction on Flipside. That's completely above my pay grade
Wait,
on understanding that. But
what are you
Deep-
reading? That extra sentence, I don't see that on the post.
the decode interface description languages, IDLs to simplify Star Atlas data interaction on Flipside. That's the third bullet point under enhanced investor research experience.
I don't see a third bullet. Are you looking at a different post?
I'm looking
Enhanced
at the
investor
one.
research experience. It's right above stakeholder impact.
It does say edited, and I'm under the Discord link for funding and independent economic research.
Okay, I must
In
be
the
looking
pip
at a different
drafts.
post.
We're in pip
In
drafts.
maintenance.
You're in pip drafts. Oh, gosh darn it. I was in pip ideas.
Well, that explains it.
That explains it.
It's all good. Enhanced investor research experience. I don't know why that's not sticking in my brain, but that's more for the investor research. So if somebody's looking to invest substantially into Star Atlas, these tools will help that person. So he's going to improve the data accessible for them, for the analysts, and classify wallets and IDLs. So that's more big picture stuff. I don't know enough about any of it to have an input. Does anyone have?
Okay, this actually reads a lot better. Dang.
Yeah, and it's to be honest, it's kind of it's nothing critical really, even if it's not doesn't read very well. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Which it does. I'm just saying it's not really. There's nothing that
It
we
reads
should
more
get hung up on.
Yeah, it reads more technical than anything. So.
Yeah.
To me, as a layperson. Cool. We'll move on. Stakeholder impact. So the players, they gain access to comprehensive earnings and expense data, enabling better economic strategies and transparency under evolving conditions. So the players gain access to, go ahead.
Really quick, before we move on from the specifications, Drum did have a point here, and I was noticing this as well. The specification doesn't mention any milestones, order, the order that which these would come, I think is what he means. He just says the word order, but I think he's meaning like kind of which is one of these going to be first, or it kind of reads like they're all being done at the same time, and then the amount of items. Yeah. So so specification. So I think what he means by that is he basically is giving a general idea of the things that he's going to be doing, but it's not really specifying like maybe two of these bullet points are going to be on one thing. Like it's like, okay, we're going to give you this insight and we're going to give you that insight. Well, does that mean you're making this dashboard, that dashboard, or are those combined into one? Like none of those specifications are there, right? The order that it's being produced, the amount of items, how much, or the milestones. I think that's really what's lacking in the specification. Yeah, I totally agree with what he's saying there.
I didn't know what to write there. He thinks
So
that they should add something.
Drum wrote it pretty well. He said Section 4 specification doesn't mention any milestones, order, amount of items. Yeah, I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Where are you reading?
In the forum, in our internal forum.
Oh, dang it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Got it.
it's okay. This is Drum. I just want because he's not here, so I just am keeping an eye on his feedback. But yeah, I totally agree with that. He needs to have milestones. I don't know if the timeline kind of goes down over the order, but so maybe he could just kind of rely on the timeline a little bit for that, for like the actual order that these are going to be released. But the milestones and the actual items, like this dashboard is going to do these things. Like he has the things that we're going to get, but he doesn't explain how that's being done specifically, right? He's saying, okay, we're going to have, do you guys understand what I'm saying? I feel
Yeah.
like I kind of,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep. No, it makes sense to me. So like, he's not going to provide all of this day one, very first thing. So what would the expectation be of receiving, this tool, this tool, this tool? Like, does the DAO dashboard get built first? And some of that, I think that's what Drum was trying to say. Just what's the deliverable win? And because you're right. Later on, we'll get to it, but he does have timeline. I guess we can skip that real quick. Update. Upon funding, he'll update and streamline existing dashboards, including providing a refurbished set of tax season tools and constructing a custom dashboard for the DAO. Okay. Stay active with the IDL decoding and classifications on Star Atlas wallets and programs on Solana Explorers. So that's under timeline. And then ongoing is maintain existing and develop new databases with a particular emphasis on actionable and economic usefulness. So it's sort of spelled out in there. For the most part,
Okay.
it is.
He does go, it looks like there is some more. Continue the long-term research strategy, measure player external wealth. I think he kind of, especially in the specifications, like it isn't very specific. I guess that would be, a simple way of putting it. It's kind of broad. Every one of those items is pretty broad, but it's not really specific, and that's what needs to be in there, is the nitty-gritty details.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll give this feedback to Stephen, and then if he has more questions for Drum, he can ask him specifically for clarification. Maybe that'd be a good way to go about that.
Yeah, I'm just copy pasting it right now.
Perfect. Love it.
So we're at stakeholder impact.
Correct. I went over the players. So gain access to comprehensive earnings and expense data, enabling better economic strategies and transparency under evolving conditions. That makes sense for a player. Clear. That's how it will impact them. So how it'll impact DAX is, so guilds will be able to benefit from standardized reporting of dashboards, ensuring equitable access to economic performance data, regardless of analytical capacity. I personally like that. I know some of the feedback that he got, I think Brian put in there that, you make it a paid subscription thing for a DAC. And there's nothing stopping somebody, a guild, from hiring Stephen to do that on their behalf. But I like that he put in there, I hate this word because it's been weaponized, but equitable. That everyone has the information and they can all read it and they can analyze it. So equitable, yeah, I personally like that, but that's getting into the weeds of my personal preference. But
It's cool. Yeah, I agree.
Asking for community funds, those funds for DAOs will benefit everyone equitably. So when you're using public dollars, the public should benefit. That's just my personal opinion. DAO. So for us as a council in DAO, custom tools that help make the council more effective, more informed, and provide them with superior understanding of the economy. I like that. That's definitely a benefit to us. External analysts gain better tools for studying Star Atlas's economic impact on Solana and vice versa. Definitely will do that. It will have an impact. Now, if it's going well, it can be a really positive impact. If it's not going so well, it could be a negative impact. So having this information more readily available is a double-edged sword. I think that's something that probably needs to be vocalized.
Yeah, sometimes when I post the board that he has for Automata monthly revenue, it makes people more upset than it makes them excited. Even though I'm like, look, we
Right.
made $1 million, and they're like, you sold $1 million in tokens. It's like, well,
Yeah.
we made $1 million.
Well, and I think I believe generally we have the stakeholder impact includes like negative type impact, right? Like for example, I'm thinking if funding doesn't obviously there's like the initial funding is, you know, like the I don't know if we require that, I don't remember, but I'm wondering what happens if the subsequent pips, you know, to continue this funding fail. Is that something where there's going to be an impact where, you know, we just don't really have access to these tools anymore? Like I feel like we kind of,
Unless we pay for the data rights, then yeah, we have no entitlement to anything beyond what we pay for.
Right.
yeah, I feel like unless, yeah, see, and then at the bottom here we have like the only other place I would expect to see something like that is the conflict of interest, but then we have none there. Oh, we have a risk section, potential challenges, huge data platform outages.
He's using
It's
open
true.
source code and the implementation details.
Yeah,
So
I feel like at the stakeholder impact we should have some, you know, potential. I feel like we should be able to get some insight into what could go wrong as well. Like even if it's not inherent, but you know, like if it's a possible impact to the stakeholders, I feel like it should be there. Because we don't really know how that would work, right? That's probably something else that should be mentioned if it isn't.
okay.
And I think that's probably if people care about that stuff, like DAOs or not DAOs, like DAX and players, big and small, they should make their voice heard. You got to show up to these things if you want to have input on some of this stuff. I know it's a one-line external analysis or analysts. You know, that's pretty benign, but these are important important things to consider. So I think all of our feedback has been pretty good on that, but people need to show up too. So anyone listening, maybe we can, since this one will have such an impact, you know, maybe signal when you make your announcement, put something in there about read it, let your voice be heard before it goes to vote. If you want changes made, you know, give everybody every opportunity before it goes to voting.
We have 5 minutes. It's bow tie.
Oh, geez.
Just wanted to add in
Implementation.
there, I was quiet while I was just posting it in chat, but when we talk about public use for like this data or the DAO's rights to it and everything, literally anything that's created on a public Flipside dashboard, there's literally like a button on the dashboard and you can just click it. It's called code. And you can just take the exact query that's used to create that dashboard and you can use it yourself or copy it or do anything or modify it for your own purposes. So literally everything that he makes on Flipside, the DAO could just make its own like financial page or economics page, and it could just fork everything that he creates so that there's a permanent record of it, even if something happened to him somehow.
Perfect.
Oh,
And
okay.
Lanzer had a good point. I do have a hard out here in 4 minutes, and I
Yeah,
think
let's bow
Lanzer,
tie it
you're
because
pretty tight
details
too.
are going to be really
Well,
long. It's a long section.
yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna get through it, and I don't want to rush through. If he has to wait, that sucks. But we
Yeah.
can at least give him this feedback so we
Hey,
can
we gave
finish
him what
up.
we could in an hour. We'll pick it up again next
Yeah.
week.
Yeah. So we'll do one more. So we'll just finish up under implementation details and leave timeline going forward. So players with limited data literacy may find dashboards overwhelming. However, this can be mitigated by providing user guides. My question is, will he provide that user guide? Who will provide said user guides? That's a good question. So
Yeah,
I
that's
would
a
like
good
some
question.
clarity on that. So if you guys can write that feedback down. So the implementation details. So open source code will be used to construct economic data, which will be displayed using dashboards developed and maintained on Flipside. And Signal just put some additional information in the chat. So reports on community wealth, income, emissions, and expenses will be shared publicly via regular updates on X and Discord, like monthly reports and ad hoc announcements. Is that enough on the implementation details?
I feel like it kind of goes back to what Drum was saying about like the specific items and the milestones, the order. I feel like he could kind of get into, you know, I think he could distribute those points between the implementation details and the specifications. Like the specifications could go into the nitty gritty a little bit better, and then the implementation could, I think, go more into like exactly how is this going to roll out over time. What's listed in the specifications.
We need to
about
hard
the
out.
timeline.
We only have a
Hmm?
minute left.
Oh yeah.
What do you mean?
As in, we have a minute left before two of us have to leave. Implementation details is a big section, and we probably have a lot
Should we
more to
just
say
leave
on
that
it.
for next time?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, and the
but
big
it's
thing that
not
I'll
Should we-
throw
though,
in here
because
that we
that's
didn't touch on is this is a recurring payment PIP, and it's got an ecosystem fund cap on it due to its very nature. You can't have recurring things that go beyond 1 year for one. You can't have a recurring payment that automatically goes beyond the cap. So within 90 days or less, this would hit the 5% cap for a single PIP.
Good. Yeah. Yeah, man, it sucks. I was really hoping we'd get through this one, but we're not going to. So
It's
I think
valuable
we,
stuff. We gave him a lot to work
Yeah.
on.
yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
he'll be able to
And
beat
we'll
us.
let, yeah, and we'll let him know that we'll pick it up again next week, and that's just what it's gonna end up
Yeah.
needing to be. So
And there's nothing wrong
And we
with
can
that.
keep discussing in the chats during the week. It's just,
Yeah,
it'll be a
and-
week till we're all together again like this in a live stream.
I think I'm
and
starting to pick up a
Quindar
process
and
here.
yeah, and Quindar and VB, you're in the chat. Please go in there and put it in the PIP draft deal in Discord. Like having those conversations in here is very valuable. He needs our feedback, and if he wants it to pass, I think he would definitely appreciate it. So, okay, I hate being that guy, but I
It's
got to
time to
get
go.
back to this training that I paid a lot of money for. So
We're all
it's
turning
been
into a
fun.
pumpkin.
If you two, if Bodhi and Signal want to stay in here and do the any more chatting or anything, feel free. But we got to go.
Right on. See you guys.
Well,
See
All
ya.
right, catch you
see
later,
you next
guys.
time, boys.
Peace.
Laters.
Does anyone have anything for the Signal or the Bodhi?
Hey, Signal, have you read through this whole thing yet or no?
Yeah, I read through the whole thing while we were in the the governance live stream.